Good morning, students. Myself Rajni Vinay, your history and civics teacher. This video is for class 7A and B. In previous video, I had explained first half of the chapter, the Constitution of India. I hope you all went through the video and understood it. Now, in this video, I am going to explain the second half. I will explain from the objectives of Constitution. Please watch this video till the last. The main objective of Constitution is to establish justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. It means that Constitution says that law is equal for every citizen of our country. All citizens are equal in the eyes of government. Everyone is free for particular condition and all citizens should have the feeling of brotherhood for other citizens of country. Let us understand in detail one by one. First one is justice. There are three types of justice in the Constitution. First justice is social justice. It means we are not allowed to discriminate anybody on the basis of caste, race, gender or religion. Next one is economic justice. It means that government should take such lawful steps to fill the gaps between the rich and the poor. Each and every citizen should be economically developed. And last type of justice is political justice. It means that everyone has equal right for casting his or her vote and elect his or her own representative. Next objective, liberty, means in India each and everyone is free to put his or her own thought in front of government or society, free to follow any type of religion and choose any occupation for earn his or her livelihood on the basis of his or her ability. Next objective is equality. It means a particular government will never discriminate people on the basis of caste, creed, race and gender. Law is equal for every class, gender of society and everyone can equally enjoy facilities provided by the government. The last objective is fraternity. It means that government's duty to bring a feeling of unity or brotherhood among the diverse group of people, and it will not last till Indian boundary. This feeling of unity should be spread all over the country, and this feeling or spirit of brotherhood and unity is essential for every running of democracy. In the next point, we will learn about some features of the Constitution. Let's start. First one is flexible and rigid. This feature of Constitution means our some law or right mentioned in our Constitution can be replaced with new law and rights with a simple majority of parliament member. On the other hand, the basic structure of constitution is not amendable at any situation. So we can say that our constitution is flexible with amendable, and rigid means not amendable. Next feature is single citizenship. It means we have citizenship only on the basis of our country, not on the basis of state. Some countries have dual citizenship of the country as well as the state. Another feature is lengthiest known constitution. That means our constitution is the longest constitution in the world. At the starting, our constitution has 395 articles and 8 schedules, and in 2000 this count increased to 442 articles and 12 schedules. Our constitution is most detailed constitution in the world. Next feature is federalism. This feature means there is a decentralization of government's power in country. Our government has more than one level, and all the power of government is divided in these levels, and in distribution of power is clearly explained in our constitution. National level laws are made by the central government, which are applied to all states, but the laws are made by the state government and are applied to that state only. Next feature is an independent judiciary. Judiciary is free from the control of the executive. Our judiciary system is free to do judgment, and the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Minister do not have any power to remove the judges. On certain condition, after a proper procedure, action can be taken against the judges, and that procedure is mentioned in the Constitution. Next feature is parliamentary form of government. According to this feature, our constitution had established a parliamentary form of a government. It means that the representative of the parliament are chosen by the people, and these representatives are assigned the task to run the country. The executive is not all powerful and is made responsible to the legislature. The real power rests with cabinet. The Prime Minister is the real head of the government, and the President is the nominal head of the government. The Prime Minister and Cabinet Ministers are the members of the executive. Next point is the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights refers to the basis right of a citizen. These rights play an important role in making a government people friendly. There are 6 fundamental rights. Let's know about them. Number 1, right to equality, Article 14 to 18. Number 2, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22. Number 3, right against exploitation, Article 23 and 24. Number 4, right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28. Number 5, cultural and educational right, Article 29 and 30. And the last one is right to constitutional remedies, Article 32. As government gave us fundamental right, we should also have some fundamental duties. It is our responsibility that we should follow these fundamental duties. These are not part of the original text to the Constitution. These were included by the 42 Amendment Act in the year 1976. Next point is the directive principles of state policy. This refers to the guidelines given by the Constitution for the government. These policies are not enforceable in a court of law, but it is government's duty to keep these policies or principles in mind while creating new laws or formulating policies. So, my dear students, your first chapter of civics is over today. For better understanding, listen both the videos together again and again. I'll be giving you question and answer of this chapter on Tano app. So kindly note down in your copy and learn them. Till then, goodbye to all and take care.